Hi, folks. You are watching and listening to another edition of Sipping Off the Cuff. I'm Mike Morales here in sunny Southern California on all of our channels and networks. That gentleman sitting over there is.
Skip Falconer in Los Angeles, California.
So Skip was educating me on this brand that we just received not too long ago. In fact, just last week. I gotta tell you, I love the colored glass that it comes in.
Yes.
This is the Blanco expression. It's called Equanimity.
Equanimity.
And
Calm.
yeah, calm.
Meditative.
Yeah, it's like a Zen moment in your hand. It's got a whole yeah, we had to look up the definition because it's not a word that I use very often, but I like what it stands for. I like that idea.
Beautiful.
Yeah. So I love the glass. I love the top is really very it's I like it because I like the flat ones because they're easier to pull off than the rounded knobs. Sometimes we get the rounded knobs and it pulls off the cork and you got the cork stuck in on the floor or whatever. Anyway, we just broke the seal off of this thing. I'm gonna pour it. The one thing I will tell you about colored glass though, is that you can't see the bubbles. You have to really put it up against the light, the sunlight, to see, if it's got bubbles or not. So we did some research offline, and we'll tell you all the ins and outs as to what distillery it's coming from, what other brands they make. We've always been the type of reviewers that will do that, and we don't use an app. We actually go onto the CRT website, which is where all the official information comes from. Anyway, um, and I'm hoping that right now the CRT is just refurbished. They redid the entire website. There are some elements missing from their website that I'm hoping that they will reinstall once they, get off the dime here. I'm going to pour the juice here, the Blanco, into my Staso Jarrito that I normally use for reposados or for mezcal, but I'm going to try this Blanco here.
And I'm using my handy dandy Glen Karen.
Well, let's see. It's it's pristine, I will
Oh,
say.
I got some bubbles in there.
Oh, there you go.
Let me just put this cork back in here.
Yeah, it's a synthetic cork. There's no real logo or anything on it that we can discern, but it's a nice looking logo though. It looks like a little bit like a wood. It's got like uh looks like it's been cut from wood, but it's not, and but it's got a granite like a slate color to it. Uh,
Yeah, it's very, very,
Simple
very
but
clear,
elegant.
very shiny.
So I'm hoping I know when I popped it open, I didn't get any agave notes, but that's not, I don't go looking for it, but if it happens, that's great.
Yeah.
It's kind of soft on the nose.
Oh, it really is.
Yeah. Now I'm waiting for some legs and tears to appear, and there seems to be a string of pearls.
There's
There
a
you go.
I'm getting some legs and tears.
It's taking its sweet time, isn't it?
It is. It's a little. Oh, there they are. There they are.
Yeah, there they are. Like we just broke the seal off of these, and I've only had it for like maybe a week, right, Skip?
Yes.
Yeah. We just received these not too long ago, so um they haven't been sitting on my living room floor like some of the stuff that we're trying to get to. Oh, there they go. Now we're getting some nice legs and tears. Now it's thickening up a little bit.
Yeah.
Now, to be fair, I've had a wide variety of tequilas that come out of this distillery, and we'll give you the number here shortly. But they run the gamut. They run the gamut from flavored and cream tequilas to real traditional old school stuff. So I'm looking forward to this because it's a brand new. Skip's got all the background information on these folks, and I want to
I got a little bit of background on them.
yeah, well,
They didn't send any POS. but I looked them up, and one thing I'm looking forward to, it's a black owned company, African American owned company, and
And there's
you
a
know,
few of them out there now. They're starting to really uh at least become known. I mean, they've always been in the business. It's just
yeah,
now it's become a what do I want to call it's become a sales point. You know, it's people looking for brands that they can support for one reason or the other, whether it's, you know, they're sustainably farmed or they're additive free or they're organic or, you know, they're Chinese owned, black owned, Mexican owned. They're all, you know,
yeah.
you name a race, they own a tequila. So to me, it's like, okay, it's just a tequila. But you know, I'm getting like,
Celebrity owned.
oh yeah, celebrity owned. That's the other one.
Yeah,
Now I'm getting some aromatic notes, like herbal notes.
yeah, me too. But
And I have a much wider mouth surface. Again, I'm using a much wider than I normally use for mezcal for a higher proof. But the nose is really pretty. It's
the nose is very nice. It's not, it's citrusy. It's a lot of citrus.
but I'm getting like herbaceous, like rosemary. I'm getting I don't want to say jasmine. It's not that sweet, but it's like sage. There's like a
Yeah,
sage.
okay.
Yeah. And I'm hoping it opens up even more because that if I'm getting sage, maybe it's a little bit more earthier. You know, I'm good with that. I like a little earth. I like a little dirt in my tequila. Oh, you know what? Now it's going to from herbaceous to anise. There's a
It is
little anise in there
a
or
little
fennel.
anise in there. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Ooh, it's just opening up nicely now.
It is. It is.
And there's decent alcohol too. It's a bit more intense. And again, we just broke the seal off of these, so you're going to get a little bit more alcohol at the top, but nothing to, you know, it's not going to singe your nose hairs or anything. I want to dive in. What do you want to do? Do you want to keep, you want to keep
Let's go.
frozen? Let's dive
Let's
in.
go.
Okay, here we
Yes.
go. That was much sweeter than I thought it would be on the first pass.
No, it is. It is sweet. There's some pepper up front, and it's more of the white pepper
Yeah.
than say a black pepper, and it
So
is
I had I had to rinse my mouth a little bit and just
it is sweet.
yeah, and it's right now it's not off-putting, but I want to give it a second pass. It's not cloying sweet,
No,
but there was a sweetness there that I'm not sure. I'm a little confused by. It's probably just me. So I'm gonna let it. I'm gonna.
now I'm getting some on the nose. I'm getting some grapefruit in there.
It's definitely opening up. So the longer you play with it, the nose will open up for you. It will start to bloom. I'm sorry, I have to use the right verbiage, the right lingo, jargon.
I'm going back in for a second pass here.
Yeah, I'm gonna join you. I think I can. Definitely much more recognizable for me. What do you get? I want to. I'm interested to hear what you have to say. Great finish, by the way. The finish is a long finish.
It is a long finish. It's sweet. Um, I'm getting on the second pass. I got a little mint,
Yeah,
almost like
I
a
did too.
almost like a double mint. Uh,
Yeah, like a spearmint.
yeah,
Yeah, not peppermint, spearmint. There's two different things. Yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah. Like the gum that you used to get with the five strips.
yeah, yeah. Now,
Yeah,
now it's not, as far as I can tell, this is not artificial. This is, again, there was a nose there that was a little bit different and a sweetness that I was getting, but as it evolves, it's very subtle. And like I say, that on the nose, it went from uh sage to
to,
fennel.
to
Not
anise.
quite, not quite anise. I mean,
Yeah,
it didn't go that far, but I got fennel, which is close. It didn't go licorice, all right. It didn't go, didn't go Twizzler on me. And yeah, but on the mouthfeel, once I went on the first pass, it it felt and tasted more of the kind of blancos that I'm familiar with from this distillery.
uh-huh.
And I enjoyed those blancos. It became much more familiar to me as it bloomed and opened up. But this is still a little bit different for me because there was stuff you were getting all over your palate. I mean, it hit every section of your palate, including the back, you know,
Yeah,
the rear. And I need to go back one more time because it's complex. There's some complexity there that I didn't expect,
yeah.
that I hadn't had in a long time. It's been a while since I've had one of the brands that comes out of this distillery is called Bohica. I have like a couple of swallows of that Alex and I are going to go eventually do. And it was one of those brands that they're only in Texas. And I was, when I was living in San Antonio, they came to my house, they dropped it off to my porch. They never sent it to anybody else like I requested. So I've held on to these bottles because I could never do the review. But and we even ran into them. They were doing a tasting at a Total Wine in San Antonio. We ran into them. That's how I got the samples. But they never sent us the entire line, for me and another TJ. So
Mm.
you know, the bottle I have is a few years old, and moved with me from Texas to California. So here we are, and we still haven't done the review, but we're gonna. But this reminds me a lot of the Bohica. Now, there's also some minerality in there. Do you notice that?
Yes.
But it's not prominent. It's not like up
It-
front. It's like at
no,
the
not.
back.
It's the sweetness, and I'm not sure where the sweetness is coming from, but that's there's a, and it's not cloying. It's
No, I don't think this. I want to say again, this distillery is known to use additives on brands that have requested it because they're making flavored tequilas. It's specific to that brand. But as a rule, I've had other tequilas coming out of there. We've had Tequila comes out of there,
mm,
and they only make the one they put out as a Cristalino. I've had another one. So there's nothing funny going on every brand like some of the other distilleries that are trying to pull the wool over people's eyes. So I want to say this is pretty natural.
yeah.
And I love the aromatics on it. I love the sage and the fennel and
And
it's
and
not bad.
there was a flowery perfumey type of aroma when I first opened it up.
Yeah. And then it evolved. It opened
And
up.
then it evolved. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. But it wasn't powdery, it wasn't sugary, it
No,
wasn't, it was
no,
very,
artificial.
and I don't even want to say perfumey because perfumey still means that it's thicker than it should be. Um,
Mm,
these are very, very light on the nose, and it
yeah.
keeps evolving. For us, Skip, we've had tequilas with brands who are using additives, and they're using
Oh
other
yeah.
ones, and it's very consistent. On the nose and on the flavor, it's all the same. So the evolution that we're getting is a not not common for brands that are using these aguacantes on purpose or heavily influenced on that.
And now that
I'm gonna go one more. I'm gonna go one more
one
pass.
more, I'm empty. I've done my third pass.
You know what? There's a sweetness there, but it's not an artificial sweetness that I've ever had before.
Yeah,
So I'm just gonna say it's naturally occurring. I like how they're doing it.
yeah.
I like that it touches the sides of your tongue.
And the finish, it's medium.
The finish is good, yeah, and the minerality of the finish, it's almost finishes dry, which is odd
yeah,
because the flavored ones that we've had, the ones that are using aguacantes, they don't finish very dry. This one
right.
finishes dry. So you know what? I'm not afraid. I think it's a brand of promise nominee in that Blanco category.
I think so too.
It ain't old school, but it's not supposed
No,
to be.
no, but it's nice.
Yeah, you know what? It's a great sipper, but could you put it in a margarita? Absolutely. Make a great paloma though, because of the minerality and the citrus notes on the top.
I think it would make a good Mexican mule also.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, that's your go-to too, huh? The Mexican mule. Next
Mexican
time,
mule
next time you see Alex, you're gonna have to have him make you one.
yeah,
I'm telling you, man, he makes some killer cocktails. Alex, our founder, Skip, if he looks familiar to you, it's because, and those of you who have joined us in our residency at El Cholo in Pasadena, Skip is there every time we have an event. He's our not a ringer. He's actually a helper. He's there to help us out because he's just in the area. And so we're there. We see each other consistently now. And Alex is a big cocktail guy, and ask him to give you a Mexican mule recipe, and then Skip will go home and make it for his family because he does a lot of entertaining at home, mostly family and friends. So I got to, you know what? I got to dive in one more. It's the same pour, so I haven't really
Go ahead, because I finished my pour. It was that good to me.
that you know it is very familiar to what's coming out of that distillery. So we'll give you the number on that in a second here on. It's like the sweetness gets more intense at every pass.
At every pass, yeah, yeah.
I wonder if that's just glycerin. Again, not a bad thing. You can use glycerin. Maybe it's the glycerin that's just adding a little bit of the sweetness, giving you the legs and tears. It's allowed. See, folks, this when you read the normas, and normas say you can use 1% of all those aguacantes. Aguacantes are different than what additives are. Okay, there's no actual word in English, so there's different interpretations. Abocantes are used for finishing and polishing. That's so you can make a tequila more approachable. It doesn't hurt the finish. It gives it more of a legs and tears, and it does give a little bit of the sweetness. So I'm going to say that they're using, this is the kind of, using what we call finishing and polishing was an art form back in the early 2000s before the diffuser, before the final push to get tequila to surpass vodka, all that stuff. That's scary to me. That's not sustainable.
Right.
And so if there this is the way to use, finishing and polishing was an art form. They're still using it, they're still doing it as an art form like they did in the old days. This is not off-putting. It's not bad. It's not offensive. In fact, it adds more character. Now, I don't know. we have to look at the website. Skip, what was the family name? I know you had a lot of that.
Yeah, it was Gus and Velma Jenkins, Gerald and Annette Jenkins. I think one family is out of Upper Marlboro in Maryland, and the other one is I think is Richmond, California. I wish they would send us some information on who they are, but
Yeah, we've only got information from the website. Gus Jenkins, CEO and founder. Gerald is a CEO and co-founder. Jenks Thirst, which is a company that I remember because that's how they're recognized, I think, on Instagram.
mhm.
Uh, they're both, these guys are no slouches. They have both worked for, I think it says here Gerald worked for a Fortune 500 company. These guys are these guys are tried and true, executives that have worked for big companies.
Yeah,
And then
I think veteran.
Velma does the marketing and design. Uh, so
Oh,
Annette,
you RM.
their whole family. It's a whole family.
Yeah, yeah.
Check
Sounds like
that
it.
out.
Sounds like it. Yeah,
Wow, man.
and out
And
of yeah.
okay, now again, on their website, it says additive free tequila. It doesn't have the seal for that particular application. The only way that this can be determined now is through the CRT, and there are brands waiting for CRT additive free certification. So if they are seeking that, that's one thing, but anybody can say it at this point. Right now, it's the Wild West, folks. After they shut down the application that most people were using, by their numbers, 300,000 subscribers to that application. But they're saying it, they're putting it on their website. Doesn't mean it is, doesn't mean it isn't. Also, it doesn't mean that they're not using the aguacantes, which is not considered an additive. Okay. Uh, I personally, I got no problem with this tequila, man. How about
Yeah,
you?
no, no, me either. None at all.
No, me neither. I think it's a solid tequila. It's actually very reminiscent of what I've had before from this distillery. As a matter of fact, let me give you that number. So it is coming from
1439.
1439, Proveedora y Procesadora de Agaves Tres Hermanos. And you get brands like Pacheco 1988. We've had that before. Bohica, the one I've had. We've had Monita. I think you and I had Monita.
Monita? Yes.
Kateri. Kateri was one of our Brands of Promise winners. They came out of this distillery. I think there are other ones like did I mention Tequila? Tequila is one that we've had that they only make a Cristalino.
Mm.
So there are some really good brands coming out of here.
Well, they
And
used to come out of there.
yeah, a Fogonero comes out of there. And Fogonero's been there forever, I think. So this is a reputable distillery. It's a maquiladora, but it isn't the size of some of the other ones. And they do make legitimate, excellent tequilas. And some that I'm still trying to get.
Mm.
So I got no problem with this. I think this is one of those distilleries that, this movement gave a lot of brands and a lot of distilleries a bad name without I don't know if it inadvertent or if it was on purpose, but I think this is one of the more reputable distilleries that make brands for other companies, and it's not like every brand that comes out of there has the same flavor profile. All right.
Mm.
This is really different. I enjoyed it. I really
Yeah.
liked going through it. You and I did Telson. Remember that one?
Yes, yes,
Where the nose was completely over the top, right? And then
yes.
the flavor was nothing.
Was
The
nothing.
flavor didn't have the nose. It's like you're just confusing me.
Right.
And they're still on the market, but I and they were coming from a distillery that was not known to use additives. They were using like some sort of weird aromatic.
Right.
That was the most confusing tasting that I think you and I have ever done together. So, you know what? I got no problem with this one. This one's a solid brand of promise. I think it's a solid tequila. That's our take on Equanimity Blanco, but stick with us because we've got the Reposado and the Añejo. We've got the whole line. We're going to go through it and wait till you see the rest of the colors too. These are really cool.
Yeah.
But that's our take. I'm Mike Morales here in Southern California. That gentleman out there is.
Skip Falconer in Los Angeles, California.
You have been watching and listening to Sipping Off the Cuff on Tequila Aficionado Media, all of our channels and networks. Please subscribe, hit the notification bell, give us a like, uh, go to our website, subscribe to the newsletter. We are celebrating, starting July, we'll be in business 25 years. We updated our website. It's beautiful. Go check it out. Tell all your friends, share this video with your friends. If you've had Equanimity, tell us what you're doing with it. How much, do we have a price point on this thing? I didn't
Yeah.
bother checking.
Look, the Blanco's 45.
Oh, solid. Solid price for the Blanco all
So
day
it's
long.
5.
Back up the truck.
I don't know if it fits in Southern California yet, though. I haven't seen it
Yeah.
yet.
I don't know either. We'll have to do some more research offline. But if you've had it, tell us what you're doing with it. I think it'd be great in a cocktail. I think on its own is a very interesting sipper. Uh,
Yes.
but folks, whatever you guys are doing, tomar sabiamente.
Sip wisely.